What's up everybody, welcome to the video. Today is a full Q&A video. I put the post out yesterday, I think it was, or maybe this morning. It was just a Q&A, so any questions that you guys had, we'll get them answered. I haven't done a full Q&A on the channel for a long time, so it's time we do it. But first of all, check out my tripod, for one. This is perfect on the table, and then this view. Probably one of the best settings for a Q&A video I'll ever do. Got the world's tallest tower just there. Amazing. First question, straight off the bat. Are you gonna go to the dark side anytime soon? Define soon. No, I'm not gonna do that because I think that I haven't done a full off season properly. I've always done 6 to 8 months of an off season, and I know that for a natural bodybuilder that's not smart. That's not what you should be doing. You should be taking a year out, 2 years out. My friend AJ Morris, he's taken I think 2.5 years out, maybe 3 years out. So 3 years between competitions. If you guys know Alberto Nunez, he's not competing. He competed this last weekend. He's now not going to compete till 2022. These guys are what the pro bodybuilders are doing, pro natural bodybuilders are doing. They're taking years out. So first of all, I'm going to take a year out and I'm going to see what physique I bring. If it's not enough, maybe we'll assess it. And maybe my goals have changed by then, so I might not need to do that anyway. When did you decide to be your own coach and why? So yeah, guys, you guys know that I've been coached by Jordan Peters for the last year, almost to the day in fact. And I've just decided that I'm going to go alone. The reasons are I feel like I can give myself a more personal plan. No one's going to care about your body as much as yourself. And I think that goes for any coach. Don't get me wrong, like I really care about my clients and I know that all coaches do, but no one's going to care as much as you do about your body. And I feel like I'm in a position to really trial out lots of new things. These things, and if they either work or they don't, I can translate these down to my clients. So I think in order for me to grow, I needed to take a step away, and for me to improve, I needed to take the step away and just give it a go on my own again, because I've done that all on my own for the last 5 years. It was only this last year that I haven't done that, so I'm excited guys, and I know that I can do a better job just because I've got so much more knowledge now, and I know what I should have changed, I know what should have been done, and obviously I have the most feedback. I can translate that as much as I can to Jordan, but obviously it's difficult, especially when he's someone like Jordan who's got 100, 150 clients. Very difficult. Do you use 2 sets, 5 to 9 and 10 to 12 for every muscle group, and if so, why? No, so actually I don't. This is just, I think it was quite cool to have like a strength orientated set and then more of a hypertrophy orientated set. Both are aiming for hypertrophy, but I think it was quite cool just to have the different rep ranges, just the mindset as well. So once you get that heavy set out of the way, which really hurts, it's nice to just know that you've only got 1 set left, and it's lighter as well. So mentally that was a good thing for me. But I did also have higher rep sets, so kind of 15 to 20 reps, and that also changes. And now my plan's completely different. I don't have anything that's in those rep ranges, so I think there is a place for that at some point, and there's a place for what I'm doing now. You know, we talk about these mesocycles, these training blocks, which kind of run for 6 to 8 weeks, and each block you can change these rep ranges and things. So don't get me wrong, it was the best off season I've ever had, but I know it can be better, and that's the way it should be every single time. Ass or boobs? Ass. How do you keep your rotator cuff strong and free from injury? So I've actually torn my rotator cuff. I think I tore my supraspinatus. I don't know which one that is. Those of you guys that do physiology, you'll know which one that is. But going up for a dunk once, so I dunked, hyperextended, wrenched it, completely tore, couldn't lift my arm for about 3 or 4 weeks, so I've had very weak rotator cuffs since then. And how I've improved them, lots of internal, external rotation, and face pulls. Guys, I've become very, very good at face pulls. I find that this movement is just very good for shoulder health. Instead of coming to the eye line, I'm going like right over the top, sometimes to the eye line, sometimes just to here, and I'm going through those variations. I'm just making all of my rotation movements very, very strong and giving myself a very stable shoulder girdle. And you got to prehab, guys. Prehab before you have to rehab, because if you prehab, you might not have to rehab. It's the goal anyway. Also on DMAA and DMAA, I think that you don't really need it. They are just, for those of you guys that don't know, these are kind of like, I don't even know I think it's dimethylene or something or other. They're just basically stimulants. They're in the old Jack 3D. There's some other supplements that fly around that have these in them. You don't really need them, guys. You know, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of just caffeine. And in fact, I'm moving away from stimulants altogether in my off season because fuel should be pretty damn good anyway. The only time I really think that you should be, quote unquote, using and abusing caffeine is probably in the depths of prep, and even then you shouldn't be doing that because it's not good for you. So difficult to say. How did you bring up your arms and when they were lagging? And then someone's replied saying, yeah, this one, and then what about shoulders? So actually my shoulders have always been not lagging, but I've always wanted to increase them. I've always wanted to improve them. And I think the one thing that helped more than anything was reducing my volume, my training volume. So I didn't do 20, 30 sets and crazy drop sets and 100 rep sets that I used to do. And I focused on rep ranges that I can track and progress over time, and I increased my frequency, guys. So as your frequency increases, your volume needs to come down, otherwise you're just going to burn out. I was hitting my delts up to 4 times a week last training cycle, and now it's going to be more around 2 or 3 times, but a little bit more volume. So the volume's still the same, but the frequency's less, if that makes sense. So as the frequency goes up, the volume comes down. As the volume goes up, the frequency comes down. So you can balance it like that depending on how much time you've got and what you want to improve as well. If you could choose to move over to compete in bodybuilding and just be as successful as you have been in physique, would you? Good question. I don't really think it's about the success that I've had. I just fucking love the journey. I fucking love the grind. I love feeling like shit. I'm sadistic. I wouldn't take away, like I wouldn't prep any differently. I'll just extend my prep and go longer because I need to push for striated glutes and kind of crazy hamstrings and feathers in my quads, which I didn't need to get. So I don't know, but I'm definitely going to do that next time. I'm definitely going to push that far next time because I'll be in a lot better place. I'll be able to push longer. I'm going to have a longer prep. Very good question, but it's not really about the success. It's more about being better than yourself and being better than you were the last time you fucking sat on stage. But don't get me wrong, I fucking train to win, so good question. How often should you be doing cardio and cutting? So this is very much individual. Some people do no cardio, some people have to do fuckloads of cardio. Generally speaking, when you start your prep, you probably shouldn't be doing any cardio. You just taper it up over time. There is no set amount that you should be doing, so I wouldn't get too caught up on that. Don't worry too much. As I know you've done both, when it comes down to competing, how beneficial do you think it is to be coached rather than coach yourself? Yeah, guys, so I've always competed without a coach. Last year, about a year ago, almost to the day, I decided to take on a coach. Benefits, learning new techniques, learning how far to push yourself. I definitely bulked harder than I've ever done. I've definitely cut harder than I've ever done. I learned a lot. And it's very beneficial to have a second pair of eyes and having that accountability, guys. Having to check in every single week with your weight, with your pictures. There's no cheating on your diet, because if there is, you're gonna get not told off, but you're gonna be letting someone else down rather than just yourself. So accountability factor was great. However, if you're someone who can deal with that, and maybe you've got a second pair of eyes to look at, which is what I'm planning on doing next year, I'll probably send them out to my bodybuilder friends who I know their shit. And kind of get their opinions, I think you can be absolutely fine as well. Dirty bulk or clean bulk? Like, there's no really such thing as a dirty bulk or clean bulk, but for me, health is paramount. Longevity is paramount, guys. Why would you want to go throw in a load of shit for a year? Like, I could not think of anything worse than eating horrible food. Not horrible foods, because obviously they taste great, but bad foods, high in saturated fat for years and years, for like a year. That'd be horrible. You'd feel gross, your skin would be horrible, your health wouldn't be great. Health is paramount for me. Health is the main focus here, so focus on health first rather than clean or dirty bulk. You know, surplus is a surplus, so do it how you want, but think about health. Strength training or hypertrophy for muscle gain? Hypertrophy, of course. Hypertrophy means more like building more muscle. Strength gain is just getting stronger. Hypertrophy. Top 5 supplements you can recommend and why? Okay, guys, before I start this, I don't recommend any supplements really. A lot of the time when I send out my client plans, everyone's like, what about the supplements? What about fat burners? What about this and BCAAs? You don't need any supplements, guys. The only things that I would recommend would be like creatine. The good whey isolate protein can come in handy. I mean, BCAAs to make your drink taste nice doesn't really matter. vitamin C for health, maybe a good multivitamin, just if you're not eating enough vegetables. If you are, you don't really need those things, but there's nothing you can't get from diet. So I don't really think I should answer that question of top 5 supplements and why, because I don't really think there should be top 5 supplements. I think you should be eating all of your minerals, vitamins, anything like that. That makes sense. But just creatine is normally the one that I recommend to my clients. 5 grams a day. Don't worry about loading it. How to split your training program when you can't train legs because of an injury. I would probably do like a push, a pull, a rest, maybe 2 days rest, a push and a pull. Or you could just go chest, shoulders, back, rest, chest, shoulders, back. If that makes sense. But the thing is, like, you still got that volume. Like, you can't just put the volume up on your upper body day because you can't do lower day because you're not going to recover. So I'll just have an extra rest day where your leg day would normally be, to be honest. Would you keep any fats in during your carb load before a comp, or keep it to direct sources of lean protein and carbs? If so, how much in relation to carbs to protein? Yeah, so very good question. So the first carb load I did for my first competition, I kept fats very, very low, and I found that I just ran very, very flat. When you're in that shredded state, AJ Morris, I'll keep mentioning him, but he can testament to this. He's eating 500 grams of carbs a day and he's fucking shredded, and he'll probably put that to 600, still be shredded, put that to 700, still be flat. So I think a little bit of fat can just help you slow the digestion of carbs, and also you can use that fat as energy rather than just the carbs, so you can somewhat keep the fullness and use the fat as energy, if that makes sense. And I'd probably just do 10 grams of fat per meal, 6 or 7 times a meal, so 70 or 80 grams of fat. But that all depends on your calories, your metabolism, where you are in prep, how long you've been eating for, how long you've been dieting for. So I can't really give an actual figure, but definitely I think there's a place for fat, for sure. What is your top tip for anyone looking to compete in the future? Invest into your physique. So I get a lot of people come to me for coaching who say they want to compete next year, and quite frankly, they need more muscle mass. They just, otherwise you're just going to be cutting away, and you might get shredded, but you're going to look like skin and bone on the stage. So invest into your physique in the long term. The best thing I ever did was not even understand what shredded was for 3 years of my career. So I had a 3-year bulk to start off with. That was the best thing I could have done. I had to get the laptop out because it's getting a little bit dark now. Advice for bigger recs here, not saying I'm massive, but just a general confidence thing. Take pictures, compare them to the previous part, just keep comparing. But it's real, guys, it is real. I've got it, I'm sure a lot of people do it when they first set into the gym. I'm not really, I haven't got a great tip for that one, really, sorry. What is the best weight to body weight ratio you've achieved in the lift? Very good question. I hit a 140 kilo bench press for about 5 when I was about 88 kilos. Not great, really, not a power lifter. So, yeah, wish I could be more impressive. How would you rate your genetics out of 10, and how much of a role do they play in bodybuilding? Crazy question. I would say I have pretty good genetics. I am able to build muscle fairly well. I'm also able to lose body fat pretty well as well. So I don't know if I could rate out of 10, maybe 7. I'd say above average. If average is 5 or 6, I'd say I'm a 7, maybe, yeah, 7. And obviously Phil Heath is 10 premium genetics. I do think that with steroids it's a little bit different. And I do think it plays a pretty good role in terms of the way you look on stage. However, I do think that you can hands down beat someone with good genetics with hard work 100%, because they might not come in shredded, they might not come in full. I do think that there's so much value in just doing it right versus having good genetics. Hard work. How has your off-season training changed compared to last off-season with JP? So yeah, got a little bit more training volume in there. I've definitely put more focus on my chest this round, which I'm very, very happy because I feel like it's sunk away. There's very much more bigger pulls. Like I got more deadlifts in there because I really want to bring through some density on my back, and I want to be able to just pop on stage. I know I had a pretty good back on stage, but I still need to get more muscle so it looks a little bit leaner, because still stays a little bit fatter than the rest of my body. But a bit more frequency on chest, delts is pretty much the same, like kind of my vertical pulls are pretty much the same, and doing legs a little bit more because I want some nasty ass legs next year, or next time I get on stage, nasty ass legs. Advice, things to know for a newbie on the competing scene: give yourself enough time to compete, to get ready, give yourself enough time to get lean enough, give yourself enough time to get big enough. 2 key words, just time. Time will always win, you know. I think a 16-week prep that I did for my first competition wasn't long enough. It definitely gave me scope to get leaner over time, which was great, but I definitely think I'll be doing a 24 week prep for my first competition, with looks to do more competitions over maybe 2 or 3 months. So overall, like a 32, 36 week prep overall, depending on what I qualify for and all that kind of stuff. Guys, that is all the questions. Got through as much as I could before the light went. I had to get my laptop out for the light, but we did it. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope I answered your questions. If you still have more questions, comment down below. Sweet. Peace, everybody.